The movie opens with a couple, Mike and Kate, entering a room called the Immaculate Room. There, they see a red button, and upon pressing it, a 50-day timer begins. An AI voice welcomes them and reveals they are a part of an experiment. They are tasked with spending 50 days in this locked room together, and upon finishing the task, they will be rewarded with $5 million. However, if one of them decides to leave before 50 days, then the prize money will drop to $1 million. They can't contact anyone and have to isolate themselves. The couple is running around like kids, and they are deeply in love. Kate suggests they both should share the prize money equally. Mike mentions having a passion for art and paintings, so he wants to open an art exhibition with the money. Afterward, they start exploring different areas of the room. The AI voice informs them they can't use the bathroom together, and they discover that all they have to do is eat specially prepared meals that have no flavor or aroma. That, according to Kate, is the experiment's main goal. They receive a bottle of the specific watery food as they place their lunch order. They learn at night that the lights will go out and return at a designated time in the morning. Mike tries to get intimate whilst the lights are out. However, Kate is opposed to it since she thinks the experiment's conductor, Professor Voyan, may be observing them. Kate appears to have a daily routine of saying positive things before using the restroom the next morning. After taking a shower, they discard their old clothing and put on new ones. They make fun of their bland dinner, and afterwards Kate questions Jake what he believes the purpose of this experiment is. He continues by discussing a similar experiment that was carried out in Professor Voyan's documentary called Fame, which didn't work out well for the family that were under observation. Kate thinks this professor is peculiar, but Jake explains that it's because of his fascination for human behavior. Mike continues to stare at the timer, slowly getting tired with this experiment. He turns to face Kate, who is trying to remain composed while meditating. As night passes and they both go to sleep, Mike grows increasingly bored. The silence begins to bug Mike by the following day. Now, they are following a daily routine of specific activities that Kate is enduring, but Mike seems to get annoyed by them. One day, he finds a tiny bug in their room. Mike feeds it their food, but the insect pays no attention. Mike wants to free the bug by letting it go outside of the room, but that would disqualify Mike. Kate argues to forget about it, and they both get into their first argument. Later on, while brushing her teeth, Mike tells Kate he wants to get a treat. Whenever they decide, they can have a treat, but it will deduct $100,000 out of their $5 million. Mike chooses to accept the treat in spite of Kate's objections, because he is growing tired of his boring life indoors. As an artist, he is delighted to receive the treat, which is a green crayon, because it will allow him to pass the time by drawing. He starts drawing graffiti on the walls, so Kate requests a drawing of her. She requests a portrait, but Mike doesn't want to freestyle it, and they both get into another disagreement again, but later at night, she apologizes. The next morning, Mike and Kate find a revolver gun in the washroom. They both admit that they did not ask for a treat since that was the only way they could have gotten a gun. They both have faith in one another that the gun is not theirs. Mike makes the most reasonable assertion and says that it would be there only to play with their minds. Kate says they need to get rid of the gun somehow, but they can't leave the house because otherwise they won't be allowed to compete. They are informed that they are not permitted to keep the weapon in their closet, so they decide to toss it beneath their bed. Subsequently, they receive a surprise videotape of their family members recording a special message for them. First up is Mike's sister, who is excited for him. She tells him how much she is missing him, and how eager she is for him to return. She wishes him good luck, and her video ends. Next is Kate's turn, and her father is wishing her the best. Kate insists on not watching the video, but it continues to play. Her father mentions being proud of her, and surprised that he was approached to send a message. Kate runs off to a corner and starts crying while Mike is confused about who the man is and why Kate is freaking out. Mike approaches her and consoles her. The following day, after Mike returns from his morning shower, he finds Kate lying in bed, still upset about her father's message. Mike tries to make her talk, so Kate reveals that she lied to him about her father, because her father was an alcoholic and ruined her childhood. She mentions being ashamed of her father, and seeing him again reminds her of all of the trauma she suffered from. Mike begins to become increasingly paranoid day by day. Even though they only have 19 days left, his mental health is getting worse. Mike suggests that Kate should get herself a treat because she's feeling down. However, she insists that she is perfectly fine and won't do it. The following day, Kate encourages Mike to go for another treat since he's going crazy. He agrees and gets a reward too, all the while trying not to go wild. Mike receives the treat while Kate is in the bathroom. Unexpectedly, a woman by the name of Simone walks into the room as a new treat. The overseers of the experiment recruited Simone, and she herself has no clue of the situation, just that she'll get paid. When Kate sees Simone, Mike gets nervous and begins explaining that he simply wanted a treat, let alone asking for a lady. Simone introduces herself as an actress who has been granted the opportunity to live inside with them and improvise with them in this role. Mike and Kate settle on the bed to discuss this as Simone looks at Mike's drawings. Mike clarifies that Kate is the only woman he would ever want to be with. He believes that this is just another attempt of the conductors to play mind games with them. As they discuss on the bed, the lights turn off, forcing them to share the bed and creating space for Simone. The following day, Kate gets annoyed when she notices Mike and Simone chatting and getting handsy on the bed, so she decides to get another treat for herself. She gets ecstasy as a treat and shares it with Mike and Simone as well. They experience a strong acid trip as the drugs take effect, but Mike starts hallucinating about drowning in deep water and sees a small boy. Luckily, it was only a nightmare, and Kate and Simone woke him up. Simone and Kate settle down to chat while Mike settles down and goes back to sleep. Kate notes that Mike is still dealing with the shock of his little brother Sean drowning because Jake was high. According to her, Mike still harbors remorse because he believes he is to blame. Mike can't sleep through the night, so he gets up and goes to the bathroom. Upon his return, he finds Simone sitting there, unable to sleep either. Mike takes a seat next to Simone and strikes up a chat with her, spilling his beans about Sean. Simone tells him she didn't want to talk to her mother after they had a fight. And a few days later, her mom passed away in an accident. They hold hands as he begins to weep since he is vulnerable. While Simone sympathizes, Kate interrupts their moment. She accuses Simone of seducing Mike because she is finding it quite suspicious how unusually close she is getting with Mike. Kate gets furious and starts arguing with Simone, who believes Mike needs to talk about his personal issues with other people. Mike tells them to stop fighting and leaves. Kate extends her apology to Simone and says she understands that nothing happened between them. The next day, Kate looks around and notices Simone is missing. She is relieved now that Simone has gone for a good time. However, just as things seem to be improving, Kate discovers a note expressing Simone's love for Mike scribbled on one of the walls. She confronts him and queries him about this. She argues that nothing similar occurred between them, but she doesn't buy it. Enraged, she pushes him, sending him flying over a wall, whereupon he sustains an injury and begins to bleed. Kate gets shocked and checks Mike's wounds. Mike becomes enraged and accuses her of being uncaring about him and acting just in order to make money, but Kate refuses and claims it's easier for him to say that when he belonged to a rich household. Following this encounter, Mike makes the decision to leave, despite Kate's threat to shoot him with the gun. As per the regulations, Kate finds herself alone in the spotless room when the reward money reduces to $1 million. Shortly after Mike's exit, Kate spends the remaining few days alone, wallowing in her own misery. Only 2 days remain, but Kate approaches the red button that she needs to press in order to leave the room beforehand. However, the scene cuts off before she has a chance to touch it. After quite some time, Mike has returned to normal life and is going for runs. On his way, he runs into Kate, and it turns out that the two haven't seen each other since the experiment. Kate is coming out of St. Mary's care facility, where she was visiting her dad. Mike is surprised to hear that, so he questions if she ever got the money from the experiment, but she doesn't answer and asks him how his sister is doing. The camera then pans to St. Mary's, which mentions an anonymous donor helped them establish their new kitchen, meaning Kate indeed finished the experiment and invested her money, just like she mentioned. Back in the Immaculate Room, a new bright and happy couple walks in for the experiment, hoping to win the cash prize, and the movie ends here. Thank you for being a part of our video. If these tales of mystery and intrigue sent shivers down your spine, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more bone-chilling narratives. Stay tuned. And until next time, stay captivated.